Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. Today looking at a smorgasbord of answers for the game mechanics that were answered on last week's ReverseTheVerse. Ship theft, piracy and law. They want you to be able to steal ships and potentially keep them, with plans to make it a possible career choice in the future and gameplay behind you attempting to keep these ships that you could potentially steal as a pirate. This will require you to do various things to have the ship re-registered to you. The idea of the mechanic is that it will be high risk and high reward. The development of this will be iterative as well, so in the short term, 3.0, 3.1, we're not going to be able to keep ships beyond the session that we're in. So ship theft will be session based, and once you re-log in, then you won't have the ship anymore. But longer term, you're almost certainly going to be able to keep those ships. Law will be solar system and local based. The idea is that each solar system will have their own laws. Also, specific areas and stations within those systems may have their own or additional laws too. Alpha UEC in-game ship purchases require them to finish the item kiosks, which are similar to the commodity kiosks, but different functionality-wise, with different UIs and inventories. It's pretty high on their priorities list and is slated for 3.1, but more likely to be pushed to 3.2. We'll have to wait and see. This should also enable items like weapons and larger items as well to be delivered too. Docking needs to be worked on for the Caterpillar module and for the Parasite craft, the P-52 and P-72, to dock with the Constellation. This system will allow larger ships to dock with stations as well. There are other features that they are prioritising in the short term, and as such, this feature has not been scheduled yet, but it will be at some point. Planetary Tech. So this was quite a lot of questions answered here. They are currently working on Hurston and the Lawville Hero Zone there, as well as Levski and ArcCorp and various moons at the moment, making sure everything is integrated properly. Object container streaming is the main system that they need to have these large planets with multiple biomes and procedural cities working in as intended. Also, they are building various flora and fauna for these planets. Animals will have schedules and life cycles. They'll go to drink water, hunt, sleep. They'll have their own usables to use that other NPCs will use. So this could be a tree that they rub against or holes that they dig and hide in. Hurston has bodies of liquid on it, not necessarily water though. And they do want the ability to swim in the future and may even look at doing an underwater vehicle as well as sea creatures and lake creatures, water creatures in general. Also, in some areas of planets, they may have vastly varying biomes and flora. In cities or compounds, they may even have their own little mini biomes where they've cultivated different types of plants or environments. The LODs, or level of details, on planets for flora and items popping in as you get closer should look great even at extreme ranges. They are constantly pushing the tech forward, evolving it to look and perform better. With fog and lighting, they're going to use this for storytelling, signposting, mood setting. Some areas might have heavy fog, but there are reasons behind that fog typically. Some people complain about there being too much fog, or the fog just being right, or too little, or whatever, and they do try and balance it to some degree. Star Marine and Arena Commander. So, if from a gameplay mode perspective, having Idrises and capital ships being turned into Star Marine levels makes sense, then they will do that. Obviously, lots of people ask them to do that regularly. They aren't working on that right now, though. This is something I actually feel would really add to the game, as long as it doesn't take too much development time to do it. So allow these levels to become Star Marine levels. Don't spend too much time on them, as they could spend ages on level iteration and making it game mode or anything. I just want them as like a level, just point capture, wham, bam, done. Doesn't need to be particularly balanced. This is going to help players get to know the layouts of ships for boarding, and it's something cool to actually do and see. It's something I would like to push for in the short to medium term, if sensible. Star Marine will see updates that the Persistent Universe gets as well. They will be adding Rec as a currency, so you can earn and buy things for Star Marine. Eventually, all of that's going to be done through the in-game and not through any sort of web shop or anything. The Personal Manager app and loadout customizations will get merged into Star Marine as well, and there's going to be various fixes that they want to put into in the short term. They might look into other modes in the future, if it makes sense. If they did anything like a Battle Royale mode, which is PUBG-esque, it would be extremely Star Citizen-y though, and they're not going to go off of that. I would actually prefer CIG to focus on current core mechanics and maybe getting modding tools out rather than looking at complex game modes. I think modding would really do Star Citizen justice, but obviously that's as and when they have the tools available to do that, and that they do want to build up the game first. Arena Commander requires the Vehicle Manager app working properly, and this is going to allow for much greater ship customization and various loadouts for AC, getting back to a more competitive and actually having some form of meta for Arena Commander. Again, it's going to be getting updates that the Persistent Universe receives too, and optimization is obviously a major part of 3.1 for the first-person shooter and space combat elements. Light, medium, and heavy fighters. Differences-wise, for ships, speed, agility, weight of loadouts, ammo, damage output, health, and range are all sort of things that they look at when trying to guide these fighters. They are balancing the way ships fly and feel for 3.1. Core combat, core flight is very important. Typically, light fighters are short range, fast, agile, with less weapons and health. Heavy fighters are long range or longer range with heavier armor, heavier loadouts, and they can have more guns, or both more guns and more armor, and medium fighters are somewhere in between them on the spectrum. Some other questions that were answered as well. They want different vision modes. They want IR and EM kind of vision, but lots of different modes will be supported, and this is going to be available for scopes on weapons as well, not just your HUD on your visors and that sort of stuff. Hacking will allow you to turn on and off systems and ships, open doors and that sort of stuff. They will focus on those mechanics later. You can hack to gain entry into ships or blow up doors and turrets to make entry points. There will be various environmental hazards. They could do this for plants as well if they wanted, and they could have cactuses prick you or toxic plants and things. With lights on ships and helmets, they want those to be useful for seeing in the dark as well, so they're going to tweak them a bit. Something they'll probably look at after 3.1. They're also looking at hotkey bindings in the future as well, so you could potentially not have to interact with MFDs at all if you wanted. Obviously, people that have HOTASes and bespoke setups, they don't want to be jumping onto a mouse and keyboard to click lots of buttons on the screen. They want to be able to use their HOTAS to do everything. They will also look at any answers they can get for the Carrack in the next ship shape in a few weeks' time. Special missions in the Persistent Universe may potentially have these cutaways or minor cinematics or more immersive interaction with the mission givers, but nothing in the same kind of way the cinematic cameras and storytelling that Squadron 42 has. Service beacons can be for distress calls, refueling, taxiing, bounties, merc hire, and more. It's basically a simple way for players to create contacts and transfer funds. This is needed for mission sharing and adds to the co-op and multiplayer gameplay. That's currently pegged for 3.2, coming in June. Non-lethal weapons. They want tasers and stun grenades. They're working on weapons 2.0 currently, so with this system, they're going to be looking at various types of projectiles and damage eventually. Non-lethal will be a type of damage that they have, and they will need to work out how any knockout mechanics and actual full stun you've non-lethally taken down an enemy, whether it be a player or an NPC. It may be considered, if you do that to a player, that they are considered dead and respawn. You've done your higher risk rewards, but because you've had to use these non-lethal rounds, which might not have been effective against armor or whatever, or might have taken a lot more to take them down, or it may be that you have to try, you could choose whether or not you respawn instantly, or you are taken into custody. You could actually be knocked out, and you could wait for your friends to rescue you, or you might be able to break out, that sort of stuff. It is mechanics that they are exploring and looking at, but they're going to do what's sensible for gameplay. Every month we have a giveaway for a ship. For February, it's a luxury 890 jump, donated by our featured org, Synchronizers. They are an org that plan to encompass all of the gameplay that Star Citizen has to offer. That said, they do oppose piracy and seek members to add to their mature family of both casual and more hardcore players alike, but there's no real other restrictions on membership. Links below if you're interested in checking them out. They are active in Star Citizen now and have an active Discord you can also join. All you need to do, however, to win that 890 jump is be subscribed to my YouTube channel and then comment on any of my Star Citizen content during the month to have a chance of winning. Any questions that you have about Star Citizen or Squadron 42's development, or any of the gameplay mechanics we discussed, or anything else, chuck them in the comments below. A special thank you to my Patreons who allow me to create the amount of content I do. If you're interested in becoming one of those awesome people, then please check out the links to Patreon down below as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe, as it really does help me, and I'll see you in the verse.